Irv Brown was an unlikely broadcaster. He was first and foremost a baseball coach. A graduate of North High, he was a junior high coach in Arvada, but he needed to do more.
No, I refereed college basketball. I refereed for 25 years. I did 6 Final Fours. They paid $125. You know what it pays now? $5,000. I was coaching at the University of Colorado. I was the head baseball coach, but he asked me to coach the defensive ends, he being Eddie Crowder. And he said, we want you to do the color with a guy named Mike Wolf. I do the games and everything. Didn't know one thing about radio, found out real quick. And Hal Moore calls me up, he says, I want you to be our sports director. I said, do I have to try out? He says, no. I said, okay, I'll take it. So I start out in radio, not knowing one thing about it, no background, awful vocabulary, and I mean, I killed the King's English. Anyway, I'm starting out on top with Hal and Charlie.
He was on KHOW for 5 years before joining KWBZ. He joined Woody Page in the afternoons doing sports talk for the first time.
We're over at KWBZ, Mullen's kid got a bad book, and he dropped us. I'm out of business.
Woody and Irv pooled their resources and bought time on KWBZ, the station that had just fired them. He tapped into his many contacts, and the brokered show was a success.
I did ESPN's very first event. Had no idea what I was doing. I get a call from this guy named Scotty Connell. I'm with a new outfit. Have you ever heard of it? I said, well, what's the name of it? He says, ESPN. I said, I never heard of it. We didn't have it out here. So he says, you've got a baseball background. Can you get to Wichita, Kansas by Saturday? I says, yeah. So I made arrangements. I left a day early, went to Wichita, and I worked this tournament. So get done, and they said, that went pretty good. Have you ever done football? I lied and said, oh, all the time. Well, he gives me CU, where I'm working, and Oregon. And it was the first game on ESPN, but they couldn't go live, if you remember back then. Then he gave me basketball.
Mac, before we took it from Jim, you asked the big red-headed question, did you think we'd do it by 21? Did you think you'd do it by 21?
But then he gave me some interesting ones.
ESPN, the Total Sports Network, and the Professional Bowlers Association presents the $115,000 Austin Open. All right, let's take a look at the 5 bowlers we'll be seeing this evening. We start out in the 5th spot with Jim Tilton.
Women's bodybuilding. We did the volleyball championship, which I knew nothing about. And then they called up once and said, you know anything about pool? I said, I'll play you for money. You know, so okay, you got the job. They'd always do it at Caesars or up in Reno. I mean, you talk about getting paid for being on vacation.
After KWBZ, he joined KLAK and recruited a frequent caller on his talk show to become his co-host.
We needed a third guy. I was gone, Woody was gone a lot. So I called up Joe Williams because I really liked him. So I said, how'd you like to change jobs? I called him where he was showing homes for one of those companies. He says, well, how long do I have to starve to death? And then he became a star. Now, if you think about how he became a star, he ripped Elway and the University of Nebraska. So there are a lot of guys really identified with that. And Joe is as smart as anybody I've ever met in my life. We've been together over 40. He didn't starve. He's made big money. We've never had an argument. Now, we argue on the air because I'm supposed to beat him up because he's mean to people.
Can you spell collusion?
I can spell collusion?
Because that's
Maybe I can't.
It's an outrage. I may walk off this set.
If you've ever met Irv, chances are he had a question for you.
Give me your card, I'll give you a hit. It has worked. They become customers. They become listeners, they really do.
Irv and Joe later went to KBIG, The Zone, The Fan, and Mile High Sports Radio.
Oh my goodness, so many stops. The Fan, they had tried everything. K-How gave us $20,000 more, so we went there. Remember it was sold? Bob called, says, I'm coming back after you. He did. And Lee Larson did something. He says, I'm gonna regret this. He let us go, and we finished on a Friday and walked over and started on a Monday. Now that was a great guy.
Though he is officially retired, he can still be heard on the air several times a week. A coach that became a pioneering sports talk personality.
So I've done a few things. all this really just kind of happened. You know, I've always believed this: if you get an opportunity, take advantage of it.
The Broadcast Pioneers of Colorado are proud to welcome Irv Brown into the Broadcast Pioneers Hall of Fame.